Hello and welcome to Market Talk. We've been away for a little while, but we're back with a vengeance now. Joining myself and Andrew this week, we have Mike Floyd, who is the MD of Fife-based dealer Lovat Group. And we have Gary Baker, who is the MD of eco-friendly equipment supplier, Intelligent Appliances. So thank you both for joining us this time. I'm going to crack straight on with some questions for Mike. Now, Mike, you took over Lovat with your wife Pam last year, didn't you? So can you just tell us a little bit about how that happened? Because you guys were kind of in the facilities management side of the industry, so it was a little bit of a change, yes?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I've probably been 30 years in facilities management. From a technical perspective, looking at technical facilities maintenance and repairs and projects and things. So I had run pretty much a family-run business, which was acquired twice. So it went from 4 million when I joined it, in a bit of trouble, to about 90 million when I left last year, and as I say, acquired twice. Haven't really, haven't had a catering background as such, but I've always worked with catering, supply chain, subcontractors. I did work in an exhibition centre for 7 years, and there was about 7 kitchens feeding 2,000 people, and probably the biggest part of my job was catering equipment and repairs. So yeah, I was obviously working for a global company out of lockdown, looking for a new challenge. I always felt my skills were more suited to a smaller type company. I felt I could make more of a difference in the industry, make more of a difference in supporting some of the existing clients I've got. And just by chance, Lovat Turnbull, who had run Lovat's for 30 years, was looking to retire. And he was looking to try and find a way out. So, along came myself and my wife, and we acquired the business in July last year, and haven't looked back really. So it's been a little bit of a baptism of fire. We're 6-7 months in. It's taken probably 6-7 months to get an understanding of the technical aspects of what we do and understand a bit more about the technology, the types of manufacturers' equipment, and the types of contracts we've got. But yeah, absolutely loving it. It's been great, and it's a great business. People have been here 25 years plus, and there's some fantastic people which have inherited, which, yeah, when you inherit something new, you never quite know what you're going to get, but it's been fantastic.
Yes, because Lovat's kind of stayed on as a consultant to help that transition, hasn't he? So
yes,
how have you managed it to kind of smoothly transfer to yourself and to Pam?
Yeah, I mean, he's been pretty useful in terms of being around the place. He obviously has got a lot of skills that I didn't have, so he's been working, certainly for the first number of months. I was almost shadowing him to make sure that I wasn't making a big mistake in terms of going off and doing something wrong. He's probably taken a little bit of a back step now, more so because I've got more involved. But he was here this morning. He's pretty much here most days. Getting to not turn up's a challenge rather than turning up. So he's lived and breathed it for 30 plus years, and he's a fantastic mentor and someone to have on your shoulder to make sure that you're kind of on the right track. So, but yeah, slowly but surely, Pam looks after the kind of centralised functions in HR, and she's done a huge amount of work on projects and the website. So we kind of work well together. I do the technical bit and deal with the engineers out in the field, and she does all the kind of stuff that I'm not quite so good at. So, so a good partnership. We did work together many years ago in a business we had 30 years ago. So it's full circle, and yeah, both actually really enjoying it at the moment.
Fantastic, thanks, Mike. We'll delve a little bit deeper into the nature of the business and perhaps some of your expansion plans a little bit later on. But I'm just going to bring Gary into the conversation now. Gary, you're the MD of Intelligent Appliances. Now, I believe your company had a sort of domestic appliances background originally. Is that right? But you're increasingly expanding into the commercial side. You now have some solutions that are really fitting for the hospitality market.
Yeah, so that's right. Well, so my background is I've been involved with the family business, which was CD UK, and we're the distributor of Corian in the UK and Ireland. So I was doing that, and after a while, my father, at the age of about 75, decided that I was taking all his fun away, and so he set up Air Uno, which was our Italian designer, Cooker Hood, division, which was the domestic side that has sort of gone into intelligent appliances. And then he retired, and I had to sort of get my head around that side of the business, having had nothing to do with it. And that sort of came along just before COVID, and then we went into lockdown. And I found some great appliances that help people live a healthier life as well, to be able to put into that side of things. And out of that, decided that it was time to start a new business with putting the Air Uno and the new appliances together as intelligent appliances, and looking to start a business that really added to the planet rather than took away. There's an unstoppable force for good is what we're trying to do, generally doing the right thing.
Brilliant. Now, one of the products that you distribute in the UK is the Urban Cultivator, which essentially allows chefs and kitchen workers to grow their own kind of ingredients in their own kitchens. Can you give us some insight into how that product works and where you think that fits into the market?
So, well, as you say, it's a fully automated hydroponic system that allows you to grow your own microgreens and herbs. People have also used it for fermenting bread, for germinating plants and fruit as well. So it's very versatile. And in terms of the commercial side of things, it's got, well, we're learning that it's got really varied use. So the obvious areas are around higher end restaurants, hotels, and we sort of understood that quickly. Then we're finding that corporate catering is becoming a good market for us. So companies like BP and Sky were already up and running with Urban Cultivator for their own staff, canteen, restaurants, because firstly they want to feed their own people well, and the microgreens and herbs are full of nutrition. They're very good for you, and it's reducing the amount of meat and that side of things. And then they're trying to be sustainable as employers and in the buildings that they run, and there's nothing more sustainable than growing your own on site, because it's a 0 mile diet. So that combination is an area that I think is only going to grow for us. Development kitchens, so where you're looking at future products and you want control of maybe some more unusual ingredients, and you want to be able to experiment, it's a perfect solution for that. And then another area is around sports clubs. So clubs like Liverpool are already up and running with the Urban Cultivator in terms of both their hospitality offering and the player nutrition. Once again, the quality of the product that you're able to give people to eat is very good for you, and with the sports scientists are understanding that and getting on board with it.
Wow, great stuff, Gary. So can you tell us, are there any kind of misperceptions in the commercial market, especially about one of these kind of units, and how much output does one of these provide, the Urban Cultivator?
Well, so the main misperception is that hydroponics equals marijuana growing. Let's get that off the table now. Apparently our bit of kit isn't brilliant for it. So I think the other area is around cost. Probably, there is an upfront cost compared to just buying your herbs and your greens going in. Actually, if you are fully utilizing an Urban Cultivator, you can get your capital outlay back in anywhere between 18 months and 2 years. And more importantly, for us, actually, it comes back to what else it offers you. So the quality of the product that you are growing, it can far outweigh what you're able to bring in by the time it's been cropped, transferred, how long it's been hanging around, whereas you're literally growing it and cutting it and eating it. Then you've got all the nutritional value, the extra taste. You're in control as a caterer. You've got the product there and then, and you can decide what to grow and when you want it. And then add in all the stuff around, we've been talking about around 0 mile diet. So I think that for us, it isn't a pure cost benefit, well, just a cost analysis. It's cost benefit analysis that people we're trying to educate on. And then in terms of what that means, so the XL, which is a larger version, has 16 trays in it. So the smaller unit has 4 trays, and those 16 trays are larger than in the smaller one. And you can grow up to, well, it depends on the microgreen, but you're looking at 350 grams per tray. Now, if you think, you're quite often buying herbs and greens in sort of 30 gram units. So you're 10 times per tray, and you've got 16 trays, and actually each tray is quite often split into 2 by the users. So you can have up to 32 varieties going at one time. You can rotate them through. It's fully automated. So it allows you, to process and have available an awful lot of microgreens and herbs, and to experiment and have different ones going at any one time.
Perfect. Sounds really interesting. I'll come back to you later, but we'll bring Mike back into the conversation now. So Lovat's has kind of historically had a specialisation in the public sector. So is that something that you're looking to continue, or are you going to branch out to other kind of hospitality sectors in the market?
Yeah, I mean, public sector has been pretty good to us, certainly through lockdown and through the various challenges by the past couple of years. The public sector has helped sustain the business through that period. But as part of the growth plan, we want to try and move not away from it, but move into other sectors and try and get a better blend of the type of markets we're working in. Exhibition centres, larger kind of corporate environments are probably ideal for what we do. We do quite a lot of work in universities at the moment, and colleges and schools. So we've got a massive opportunity to grow in that sector as well. But essentially want to try and bring in other types of environments just to give us a better blend. Give us a bit more coverage round about Scotland, really, because obviously we're kind of focused in the east area of Scotland and in the central belt, but obviously Scotland is quite a geographically challenging place to deliver. So we need to get the right people in the right places and build infrastructure as well. So that's really what we're doing at the moment. We've increased our headcount by about 10% at the moment, and really that's planning for growth, really planning for our next steps really in our growth strategy across Scotland really is where we're looking for, and certainly we're trying to focus on the corporate, the kind of wider, a little bit of retail, but not too much. So just trying to get a better blend so that if anything happens in the future, we've got we're managing risk a bit better effectively.
I guess as well, Mike, given your background, you're naturally looking to expand into the facilities management side as well. How well does that dovetail with the catering side of things?
Yeah, I mean, it does already, actually, because we've done sort of a lot of projects over the last 6 months where we sort of became a one-stop shop. Now, historically, in my old world, the catering provider would do pretty much the catering installation, and all the service would be picked up by another. What we've been able to do is add my skill set into that by adding in the services and adding in the bricks and sticks, for want of a better phrase, to make that a one-stop shop. So I think there's elements of already creeping in. There's elements I want to try and to use the advantages of. Sustainability was a huge part of what I did before. So there's obviously opportunities there to impact the environment less. Moving into smart buildings, which is part of the facilities kind of pipeline. We want to try and make sure the catering follows on to that as well, so the equipment is part of that journey as well. So we don't want to be left behind, because technology is moving at quite a fast pace in the facilities bit. So we're part of the industry. I've always seen us as part of being in that sector. I want to try and do more services that we can deliver to our existing customers. And so again, it's I would see ourselves as being a solution provider. So our clients have got a big bag of problems. We effectively have a tool bag full of solutions that we come along and solve those problems. So I think that's where we want to try and get to. But it's marginal gains for us. We're not going to take over the world tomorrow. We want to make sure that we do it right. We build the right team, the right resources, and build the right partners in our sector to work with us to give our clients proper solutions. But yeah, we'll absolutely be moving into some of the other areas of technical maintenance that kind of mix and match into what we're doing, and it's again similar, concerns about compliance, gas safety, all those things are kind of prevalent in both types of industry. So whilst they're kind of slightly different, they do correlate really well.
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously, one of the big challenges at the moment is everything we're hearing about energy and the cost of energy.
Yeah.
I just wondered if that's starting to feed through into your customer base now. Are your customers talking to you about their concerns around that? And if so, how do they think you can sort of help them with that challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of things in terms of, again, back to my old hat on predictive maintenance was a massive thing where, rather than visiting each piece of equipment, twice a year or 3 times a year, if it was working and we had technology to kind of check that it's remotely that it's working, then you wouldn't have to visit it. You could focus your time on the bits of equipment. There's things you have to do like gas safety, electrical safety, but so there's elements where we can be more effective as a service provider. But there's also areas where where clients are, and I've done it myself, monitoring energy consumption on sites as well. And there's no doubt catering, kitchens, the use of are quite significant and clocking up the pounds. And it is becoming quite an important part of what we do in terms of our clients are all set for the net zero, or I've got a carbon management plan. So we need to play a part in that, and it's probably not something that I feel industry or the catering industry has played a huge part in. And it might be because it's maybe slightly further down the league table in terms of big consumers, such as lighting and all that kind of stuff. But I think as they kind of chip away at the kind of low-hanging fruit, then the next stage is kind of looking at big pieces of equipment, which is what we install, and can't be high energy usage. How do we make them more efficient? How do we use technology and innovation to maximize them, and not having combi ovens running for 6 hours a day when they actually only occupy for 2. So it's a little bit about using the technology, a little bit about education, a little bit about setting targets internally and setting targets to work with our clients as well. So it's certainly something that I want to play a part in. It's something I've done before, but it's certainly something I want to try and proactively go to our customers and say, we can help you with this. Our industry is probably, technology is almost there. It's kind of, it's coming along really quickly in terms of the catering equipment. So we want to play a part in that and get the right people to the party to add value.
Okay.
Great stuff. It's certainly something that's top of the agenda for many companies in the industry. And that kind of theme is something I want to quiz you about, Gary, is because obviously you're kind of a slightly outside perspective. So from your view, how green or how focused on sustainability do you think the food service equipment market is?
Honestly, I don't know, and I can't, because I am new into it. So if it's like most other industries, not green enough is the answer. And I think I can't change what's happened. None of us can. We just got to get on board with it really quickly. And it's about, understanding that we've all got to do our bit. And there is, I'm seeing some great initiatives. The Sustainable Restaurant Association is making more and more noise and getting more and more people involved. And we've all got to do our bit. And in fact, we've got to do more than our bit. We've got to shift the dial, I think. And there's a couple of areas where we can directly influence that as intelligent appliances. The first is around growing your own. And I think some of the stats on the importing of food in the UK are really scary. And so when it comes to wintertime, 50% of our food pretty much is imported from overseas. So certain food types, it gets up to 90-95%. So your lettuce that we eat in February, because we want lettuce in February, is pretty much always imported. And if you think about then the carbon footprint of importing all that food into the UK, that just simply isn't sustainable. And I think the pandemic probably taught us, or hopefully taught us, a bit more about our need to be self-sufficient and not reliant on, we are an island. And let's look at that. And I think the other area that is often forgotten is end of life. So we are producing, appliances that unfortunately are full of toxic chemicals. Now enclosed, and when we use them, we're not causing any damage most of the time. It's at end of life. If they are thrown away into landfill, you're putting lead, you're putting cadmium, you're putting mercury into our ecosystem, and that's a shit show, quite frankly. And we don't realise quite what damage we're doing. So, you know, there are hundreds of thousands of tons of e-waste that go into landfill each year. Only 30% of appliances are recycled through a proper scheme. So that leaves an awful lot of appliances that just, you know, are thrown away, and then who knows what happens to them. So from our point of view, it's about offering, well, firstly, trying not to get them thrown away. So whether it be offering leasing solutions, offering a collection pre-life and post-life. We have a collection tie-up with a charity who'll come and pick up that your appliance that you're no longer using, and between us we'll repurpose that. We'll either look to resell it or even donate it, because as long as it gets a home, that's better than it just being chucked away. So I think there's a lot of work to be done. Firstly, to make sure the appliance in the first place isn't full of bad stuff and isn't doing harm itself. And then secondly, what do we do with it to keep it? Unfortunately, we have a society that says, I'll use it for 10 minutes and then something better comes along and I'll just chuck it away and get something new. And we're seeing that in terms of the fashion industry is understanding very quickly that churning out new kit isn't necessarily the right way, and you're getting the whole vintage and repurposing and reuse. We've got to create the equivalent movement in our industry, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very good point. So obviously, Intelligent Appliance is your kind of raison d'etre, is to bring eco-friendly products to market. So how do you go about finding these products, these pieces of equipment, and
well,
how do you
so I think there's a difference. It's not that the products themselves are eco-friendly. So the important thing, so the products themselves are to help us lead a healthier life. So up front, it's the product is around well-being and just, it might be on air quality. It might have an eco slant. So at the same time, it's then how we do in business in an intelligent and conscious way, and that's whether it be leasing. So all our products have a 5-year warranty. So we only want to bring to market something that can and will last. And we offer the ongoing servicing and support with a piece of kit so that you are using it. Because I think half the problem is often we buy stuff and then we don't understand how to use it. We get frustrated with it, and it just sits there, which is a pointless exercise. We'd rather not sell it in the first place. So we want to find people who understand what they're doing with our appliances and then help them get the most out of it, because then they're going to use it for longer. And then if for whatever reason they no longer want it, then we want to provide the solution. We can provide a solution to take it back and repurpose it. And then, as I say, either we'll sell it again to a new loving owner, or we'll donate it to someone who will use it, because there's charities, there's schools, there's any number of people who would use a really good bit of kit if it was given to.
And Gary, just to touch again on the Urban Cultivator in particular, it's obviously a great looking piece of kit. It's very visual. From a theatre point of view, obviously we look great in many locations. By the same token, kitchens can be notoriously compact spaces, and if anything, they're getting smaller rather than larger as a trend. How are you sort of balancing that dynamic when it comes to trying to grow the sales of those sort of appliances?
Thank you for reminding me, because I'd forgotten to mention about the theatre of it, so that's great. I think it doesn't necessarily have to be in the kitchen, because this is an appliance for growing. So a lot of the chefs and businesses who are using it are understanding that theatre, and they're putting it front of house. We used to have aquariums, and you used to go and pick the lobster that then died, and which isn't appropriate anymore. It's essentially that. It's a much nicer and greener way of doing that. So you go in, you can see the greens, the herbs that you're about to eat, and the chef comes and cuts it, or you can get the customer involved, whatever you want. And it actually shouldn't be hidden away, because it is including and showing how great the whole piece is, how you're involving the customer, the growth is right there, and getting them involved and helping them to understand how fresh the food is. So why hide it away?
Fair enough.
Thank you for the reminder.
And Mike, just coming again back to you now. How much of your business is driven by project sales, and is that an area that you're looking to get into more, or do you still see Lovat's being a very sort of service and technical driven business going forward?
Yeah, I mean, we probably are in around about 10-15% projects. We do some really for existing customers. We don't historically. I think we've done lots of projects for in commercial restaurants and things in the local area. We've done quite a lot for local authorities and schools over the past year. Projects probably a big area for us in terms of growth. Is again, back to my background, was a major part of my previous business, but it's an area where I think we can add value. But service and maintenance and projects kind of go hand in hand, really, because it's up to us to advise our customers if equipment needs to be upgraded. It's time to kind of change the way they do things. So our experience in that respect will help grow the service and maintenance side, but also help grow the project side. So it will get bigger. It'll never be the largest part of our business, because service and maintenance is pretty much what we do, and it's our core skills. But I think it's an area where I believe we could have done more to support in the past, and I believe it's something that we can do more in the future. And most of my mantra is about in-house delivery. So whilst we use partners in various partners in industry, it's certainly something I want to try and self-deliver. So it's areas where we're going to bring the people into our business to try and deliver those projects and advance what we do from a skills percentage of how we do things, and actually how we deliver those services and basically kind of give our end customers what they want. So it will get bigger, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike, you mentioned that obviously you're looking to bring in a lot of new people. There's a real kind of challenge with recruitment at the moment in all different areas. So has that been something that you've faced, or is it actually fairly easy for you to bring in skilled people? Yeah,
it's massive, actually. It's probably one of the areas where I probably hadn't realised the dearth of catering, equipment, maintenance talent, really. It's an area where, they're not hanging around on street corners. There's not many of them out there, so you need to hunt low and far to find the right person, particularly. So we've grown, as I say, we've grown quite a few members of staff since I took on, and really that's about growth. But it's taken us 7 months to get the right people in. If I'm honest, it's probably an area where going forward, we have an apprentice here at the moment. We need to kind of cross-skill some of our people. So we're looking at the moment where we can take our electrical people in terms of training them into other skill sets where they can add value in certain other aspects of what we do. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest challenges in the industry for the next 5-10 years, really, is getting qualified, experienced, skilled people through an apprenticeship that's going to add value to what we do. So it's been a massive challenge, and probably one of the biggest challenges I faced here, actually, is getting quality, skilled people who are right for our business. And I think that will be ongoing for a while to come.
Yeah, it's definitely something that seems to be universal. Now, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I'll just fire one last question at you, Mike. If we were to come back and speak to you again in, say, a year or two's time, how do you think Lovat's would have developed and changed by then?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll grow as a business, but and we'll change some of the way we operate and try to add in new service. But essentially, our aspirations at the moment is to be the best service provider in Scotland. That's where we want to be. That's our single only aspiration. It won't be me saying that; it'll be our customers telling us that is what we want to achieve. So, and really, no matter what we're doing, whether it's more projects, more services, more whatever it is, as long as we can contain what we've got currently in terms of really good people, really good service, and maximise what we do and grow on that and make ourselves a bit more well known in the marketplace, but also, you know, keep to our core methodology of how we do things, and keep our core ethos at heart, and really, and that's what we want to achieve, and that's what I've communicated to the team since I came in here. That's really what we want to achieve. So whether it's a new piece of equipment or, you know, £1 million project, as long as we are the best at what we do, I have no problem with that. And that's really why I'm here now, doing what I'm doing now, is I want to make sure that that's the case. And I think that's where, ask me in 2 years' time, that's hopefully what will give you the answer to tell you we're the best service provider in Scotland, whatever we do.
Excellent stuff. I love it, and really positive. So as I say, we have run out of time now. So thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much, Gary, for joining us today. And yes, look out for the next episode of Market Talk. It will be coming soon. Goodbye.